Hey everybody, it's Gail, and this is Errata-Hate State of the Channel 2021. It is January 2nd here. I'm hoping to have this video up tonight. I wanted to just take a minute at the beginning of 2021 and discuss where the channel is, where it's going. It's staying, first and foremost. I don't have any plans to do anything in terms of like, oh, I've stopped. I have not stopped. But last year's plans of sort of changing up the format didn't work through all the way because 2020. But also because I just, I'm always sort of churning along with how to do this. And it's very funny because I found out the other day that I think it's been 3 years since I started doing this. And I'm still not entirely sure day to day what the fuck I'm doing. But I'm enjoying it, so we're going to keep going. So first of all, one of the things you might notice is that I'm wearing a very cute hat. This is the original template from the crown hat pattern, which is linked down below in the basement from Ravelry and Etsy and Gumroad. So if you want to make it, you can. The version that I made for the pattern has actually two colors, so the little crown pieces that make the points are a different color on the pattern. This is not anything I've made. This is a sweater from Target, and boy is it cozy. I am a little warm right now. So, plug. Last year's goal was to stop doing Errata-Hate as 10 episode batches because it was very time consuming in a lot of different ways, and instead try to produce an episode about once a month. That didn't work for a variety of reasons. And as that didn't work, I was thinking more and more about what could I do to continue to try to make it work, because I do like doing this. You guys like doing this. I think we're up to 241 subscribers right now as of last week, and I thank you entirely for that. This is a channel that I make because I enjoy it. It's not monetized. It will never be monetized. My mouth alone stops that from happening. I do tell you when I have patterns for sale, but all the how-tos on the channel are free and they're linked through Ravelry, and they will stay free, because kind of a dick move if I suddenly said, oh no, you got to pay for those now. Like, that is some bullshit. Anyway, that's not based on like anything other than my own preference, by the way. I haven't seen anybody doing stuff like that. But the other thing that 2020 did was I was stitching a lot. Where was I going to go? And I had some errors this year that I haven't really experienced in a long time, because my skills have been high for a long time. And I know how to do things like fit to my shape. And I know how to, even if I don't 100% know how to do something, I know how to kind of finagle it to get there. But this year actually saw me have a couple of failures that were really interesting. One of them is currently on Quinn, and is a very cute dress that I would have loved to be able to wear, but I made it too big. It's a little bit too big all over, due to I was using a DK weight yarn as opposed to a worsted weight or a sport weight yarn, and so I was kind of just winging it, thinking I didn't have to really pay attention to exactly how it was measuring. I was wrong. Kind of hilariously wrong. On the upside, it looks great. Like, it doesn't fit me, but I'm pleased with it, and I think it's going to look amazing on my best friend, who is like my same basic shape, but taller and a little wider. And so I think that like it's going to look perfect on them. And I'll just have to make myself a different one. With some of the techniques I picked up making this one. So, not a bad thing. But, the thing is, I'm realizing that I have really reached, in certain ways, the end of my known skill set. And that I haven't had to think about in years. And so one of the things that I want to do this year is spend more time with patterns. I've got pattern books I've barely opened. I've got a shit ton of vintage patterns I've gotten off Etsy. And there is great value in sitting down and working through set patterns, because you pick up things you didn't know you needed to know. Or you intentionally pick things so you can learn a new thing. And so that's what I'm doing. I have my handy dandy notebook down here, and I have a list of all the patterns that I want to try to make. This is not, I'm not going to be mad if I don't get through the list. But this was just things kind of in a first round looking at things. And I think I'm going to learn a little something different from all of them. And then I have a short list of things I do want to make that are me just winging it again, because we know I do love to wing it. And so I've got this combination of things that I want to do, and I think that there's a lot of fun to be had in covering both processes. And so rather than doing one big how-to video at the end of a project, like I've been doing previously, I want to try making shorter videos as I go of like, here's the pattern, here's the yarn I'm using, here's some of my reasoning behind why I'm making these decisions. Especially with vintage patterns where you have to go and kind of find a matching yarn. I think that's something that could be really fun. And then from there, just sort of, record a little bit about what I'm doing. Okay, I got this far, this has happened. I learned this thing, or I didn't learn this thing, or I tried to learn this thing and it was a failure. Which is just part of it. Sometimes you gotta suck at something for a while before you get good at it. I've never mastered the bullion stitch to like give you an idea of my own failures. I've never gotten that stitch right in a row of them. I can do like one, and then I can never do one for the rest of the day. But I think it'll be an interesting way to sort of work with, I know how-tos are very, very well liked. The numbers themselves tell me that. But also, those are the things that I link on Ravelry, and so it's people can find them more easily. And I still want to do, an overall how-to video at the end of something like that. But I want to spend more time in the process and discussing the process and like letting you see more of the process as I'm going, as opposed to kind of going through and just trying to get, the teachable moments in. That doesn't mean that I won't sit down and do like just a regular standard how-to video like I've been doing them, but there's going to be this different version. The other thing is, I think you'll see me talking less about books and tools. It's sometimes been a struggle to find a book that I think is interesting, or to find more tools that maybe you haven't heard of before that need more work. I'm not a review channel. I don't get all the versions of the same tool and then go through them and rate them or anything, and that's not really something I want to do. A lot of people are doing that and enjoying it, and I send you to them. The other thing is I do want to record more technique videos, but I think the first that I'm going to record are going to be the basic stitches. So the chain, the slip, the single, the half double, the double, the triple, and work through those and have them as a series of videos. Because I've had people ask me if I've done those, and I never have. I've done like individual like fancy stitch technique videos, but never sort of the basic how-tos. And so I do want to do that. So that's on the list for this year. And the other thing is, by making these adjustments, I think one of the things that I'm going to see is that I have more time to spend creating patterns, which is something I really want to do more of. I have a long-term goal of getting to the point that I can do a pattern a month. My short-term goal is to just write more patterns this year. I think last year I put out 2 or 3. And so, just keep, if I put out 3 patterns this year, I'm happy. If I put out 4, I'm doing better than last year. And that's a quarterly thing. That's a good start. So it's sort of trying to get everything to line up so that I can still have this channel that I very much enjoy, and also be able to grow in the ways that I want to grow as a designer, as someone who wants to teach people all the ways you can take crochet, as someone who just wants to work with some cool yarns. So that is what it's going to look like for 2021. The exact look of it, I don't know yet. I can tell you, I do have all my fonts back. I got rid of Adobe. I've using a whole new suite of programs. But I have all my fonts back again, so that's very exciting to me because I didn't want to have to go back and rebrand all of my patterns with any new fonts because I'm like that. So, there's stuff going on behind the scenes as there always is, and now I'm getting ready to put it back out in front of everyone again. And I'm going to start doing that with 2 videos that I'm prepping to do in the next week or so. One of them is going to just be looking at everything I made in 2020 and sort of talking about it, and where there are patterns, talking through the patterns and, what I thought of them. And the other one will be discussing a little more about what I'm going to be wanting to do in 2020 for new projects. I'm not sorry, 2021 for new projects. And also taking some time to sort of look at some of the patterns that I've chosen and what I think it's there that might be interesting because, I don't really have a set list of what comes first. And so, but if I show it to you, maybe you have something you want to see first and that can help direct me because I do get into that indecisive brain of like, what am I doing? I have so much yarn, but what could I possibly do with it? And then, so those are those large, overall simple project that I think you're going to get a kick out of. So get all that together, get it started filming. But for right now, I am going to go and change because this sweater is very warm, holy shit. It's very lightweight. I did not think it would be this warm. It is very warm. The hat is probably not helping because it is also very warm. I've got my little devil horns going with my hair right now. And I will see you guys soon. I look forward to 2021. I look forward to where this goes. I hope that you enjoy going with me. As always, my goal is to keep this as just us hanging out and stitching together. Virtual stitching bitch, if you will, which is something that might happen this year because we all know how to act on Zoom now. So why not do a couple of live streams where we just stitching bitch? Anyway, that's the low on my list of maybes. So I'm going to go. Have a good